How's it going, Laser Bruces? I'm Bobby Sixkilla and welcome back to Root Double Before Crime After Days. Maybe we'll just call it Root Double from now on. That's probably easier. We're at a scene where we need to edit our senses or whatever, but we're already maxed out on both, and I don't see why unmaxing them out would do good for us. Unless we want a shitty ending. But I'm okay for now. Let's just roll. Lunch break started and Mashiro called out to Natsuhiko. Okie dokie, lunchtime. Let's eat together, Natsuhiko. Actually, I feel like eating with some of my guy friends today. Huh? Well, fine, but in that case, at least come with me to go out and buy something. It's a crowded mess out there during lunchtime. So it's hard to buy something without a strong boy to help out. Yeah, sure, I was just thinking of going out to buy something myself after all. Okay, let's get going then. Natsuhiko and Mashiro left the classroom. During lunch break, students would huddle up and chat in the classrooms and the courtyard. You could hear voices coming from every which way, just by walking down the corridor. Man, it sure is hectic today. A little too hectic for my tastes. In this school, you could hear all sorts of conversations, regardless of distance. Like this particular dramatic tension of youth, for example. Miss Munakata? I love you. Please go out with me. Who's that? Wait, for starters, don't confess with telepathy. Have you no shame? Don't even think of doing that ever again. But Miss Munakata... Or those trying to use BC for an advantage in sports. Hey, I'm going with a curveball next. Okay, aim for the very edge of the strike zone. Guys, your telepathy's leaking, I can hear you, you know. Oh crap, change the pitch. Go for a fork, I can still hear you guys, just use hand signs like normal players. Or those using untargeted BC to have their voices heard by the masses, even though they knew it was wrong. Hello everybody, time for a surprise concert by the Light Music Club. We are Angel Kamiya and the Communicators, and today we're unveiling our new song to all you lucky people at school. Man, if you're a band, you could just sing the song telepathically to everybody. Well, here we go. First up, it's Communication Breakthrough. Dyed the color of grapes, communication breakthrough. Oh, communication breakthrough. Oh, burning love, burning love, burning love. Shut up, I'm trying to eat here. Don't just rip off other people's songs. Your band name sucks. Or even private talks, it should be best kept to oneself. Oh, look. Miss Enna's walking down the hall. Her boobs are swinging like crazy. Is it really necessary to say that with BC? Was that one of those cries of the soul? Well, I'm sure Miss Enna would get mad if she heard me. She probably did hear you. I haven't told you this yet, but your telepathy's leaking at a fundamental level. Wait, seriously? Well, yours is too. What? Many such voices rang out directly in Natsuhiko and Mashiro's brains. Telepathy is by nature an ability to convey one's voice to specific individuals. However, communicators inexperienced with telepathy often end up accidentally sending mass untargeted messages. School sure is noisy today. You think so? It's always like this. True enough, these are familiar sights and sounds for students of this school. It's the logical consequence of attending a communicator-exclusive school, but still, reckless usage of BC isn't commendable at all. Abuse of untargeted telepathy was prohibited, as was an issue of bad manners. But said prohibition is not necessarily upheld, however. Just then, as if to answer Natsuhiko's prayers, an announcement was broadcast school-wide. Stop misusing telepathy, everyone. We've been receiving complaints that they can hear you from outside the school. And immediately after the announcement ended, the BC traffic around the school came to a screeching halt. Silence at last, huh? Geez, their telepathy was leaking all over the place. This school is full of amateurs. Somehow, after what happened this morning, I don't think you should be talking. And with that conversation, Natsuhiko and Mashiro left to buy food. And after the end of an eventful lunch period, afternoon classes began. Afternoon curriculum included modern language and politics and economics. Natsuhiko was unskilled with BC, but he took pride in the other subjects. There was a quick refresher quiz since summer break ended, but he finished it easily, and with that, today's classes came to a close. Okay, congratulations on completing yet another day of class, everyone. Man, I wish my teacher had congratulated me for finishing a day. Ina greeted the class in the afternoon as their substitute homeroom teacher. The original homeroom teacher was on maternity leave, so Ina was filling in. There were no announcements in particular today, so see you all tomorrow. As soon as Ina left, the classroom broke into noise. The students still hadn't settled in since summer break, so naturally, They wanted to go enjoy themselves after school. Natsuhiko was an indoorsman, and so essentially he intended to go straight home after school. That's what I was like. Back to my computer. But Mashiro stopped him before he could. Natsuhiko, hold on a second. What's up, Mashiro? We ran out of groceries. I'll go buy some more, so come along with me. Huh? Already? Well, okay, let's go then. Thanks a bunch. He could hardly refuse a request. Those groceries were going to his and Yuri's stomachs after all. But upon hearing their conversation, some of their classmates jumped in. Oh my, going to some evening shopping together, eh, Tinkawa? Toba? You two sure get along. You two are totally like newlyweds. So Masha is a newlywed wife? That sounds kind of risque. Geez guys, it's not like that. You see, Natsuhiko's mother is too busy to be at home, so I prepare the food for them, that's all. Really? That's totally sus. Can you really do something like that every day, just out of the goodness of your heart? No, she's getting paid. Of course, the great Mashiro Toba can't neglect a single person in need. Mashiro's declaration only incited shrill squealing from the girls, and it made Natsuhiko uncomfortable. That's enough, let's go, Mashiro. Huh? What? Wait a second, Natsuhiko. Natsuhiko pulled Mashiro by the hand as if to escape from the classroom. Look, Mashiro, we've been in this class for half a year now, you know? Boom, we got us something, but she's already maxed out, we're good. I'm just gonna stay maxed out, unless the person's a wanker, and then minimize. Everyone knows our circumstances. They're just teasing us, so there's no need for you to take everything they say so seriously. Huh? Really? Masha responded as if she never considered the thought. Geez, you really are dense, you know. Natsuhiko lightly karate chopped Mashiro on the head. Ow! That's mean, Natsuhiko. How could you say that? Actually, I'm thankful for what you do. It's just, if weird rumors spread about us, that'd be a pain for you too, wouldn't it? It really seemed as if Mashiro knew nothing of the situation. She really is such a kid. Natsuhiko sighed silently. Why can't you just avoid their questions with some non-committal answers? She's not a politician, that's why. Natsuhiko was one to conduct himself well in the class. He had a fair amount of friends and nobody in particular hated him. It was for that reason that they were able to tease him like that. But to the very end, Natsuhiko was merely exerting conscious control over his interpersonal relations to live a fulfilling school life. He tried not to make any needlessly deep relationships, and he didn't want to reveal too much about his private life either. It doesn't sound like you have any friends, my dude. That's just tiring. That was how Natsuhiko thought, but not Mashiro. She would associate with anyone up front. She hated lies and lived with steadfast honesty. Good. She sounds much more mature than you do, my man. Which is probably why she couldn't understand Natsuhiko's worldly wisdom. And so, like always, Natsuhiko gave up. Well, whatever. Anyways, where are we going today? The shopping area on Center Street. The supermarket's having a sale there. I see. Don't want to let that opportunity slip by us. Let's go before everything sells out. Yeah. The two of them carried on their cliched household conversation as they left school. Okay. After leaving school, Natsuhiko and Mashiro took a bus to the heart of the city. Right beside the bus stop was a shopping area. Here stood a staggering amount of people. Yeah, it's so crowded. But we came all this way, so we can't back down now. Yeah, nothing ventured, nothing gained, I guess. Natsuhiko and Mashiro marched into the shopping area in high spirits. About an hour later, upon exiting the building, Mashiro stretched as she spoke. Man, I sure splurged, huh? Oh, shut up, you bought too many unnecessary things, you know? Natsuhiko complained, both his arms burdened with bags. In addition to doing the groceries, Mashiro also stopped by a second-hand toy shop in the shopping area and made some purchases there. She bought an old anime figures and magazines, data discs, and other various goods beyond Natsuhiko's comprehension. Geez, can't believe you're making me carry all of this. I couldn't help it, they had so many precious little treasures in there, you know? Like this April 2020 issue of Animes. There's a special feature article on that now legendary anime director. Mashiro started talking about the 10-year-old anime magazine she just brought. The director's masterpiece has got to be the national broadcast anime, Psychic Girl Beyond Beyond. And its super rare radio drama is included on the magazine's supplemental data disc. And there's even 30 pages of precious director's interviews and production materials. Man, she's my kind of nerd, I like it. And that was selling it at list price. How could I not buy it? Well, that might be amazing, but I don't understand its value at all. That's no good, Natsuhiko. You cannot see the treasure that lies before your eyes. And that is what makes you a truly sad human being. What's that supposed to mean? It's a famous quote from Beyond Beyond in anime episode 13. Oh, I see. Not that I care. I get to set how I feel about myself? I feel like maxing yourself out is kind of a dick thing to do. Let's just leave it in the middle. One of Mashiro's bad habits was she was frequently quoting lines from anime and manga, but without the context of the lines, they really don't leave much of an impression. Most of these so-called famous quotes of hers were like that. Geez, for an upstanding high school girl, you're such an otaku. That word's been so overused by the general public that it's obsolete now, you know. Well, I guess I do feel a bit jealous you can have so many hobbies, though. You really don't have any hobbies, do you, Natsuhiko? Why not take this opportunity to get your feet wet? I think it'd be fun to teach you everything there is to know about manga, movies, games, and anime. You don't have to teach me everything. Even I know a little bit. I've watched anime back when I was a kid, you know. Like S Pursuit Beyonder and, Beyonder? So all you know is Beyonder. Well, you did love it when you were a kid. Though I still don't really watch that sort of stuff anymore. I mean, it is just for kids after all. How sad. You've forgotten your inner child, haven't you, Natsuhiko? Natsuhiko smiled wryly at Mashiro's disappointment. She really got along with Natsuhiko as if she were an easygoing boy his age. But she also had the disposition of a caring elder sister, and it wasn't uncommon at all for her to help him out. She's a good kid. The only troubling thing about her is her otaku hobbies. Her natural boyishness seemed to have guided her in an increasingly peculiar direction as the years went by. Well, whatever. More importantly, we should get going soon. We've got a lot to carry too. Oh right, sorry. The two of them headed to the nearby bus stop. When's the next bus? Let's see, looks like it'll be here in about 10 minutes. Good, we won't have to wait very long then. The two of them stood there and waited for the bus. Mashiro whispered, gazing at the city. Man, there were so many people here today for a weekday. I guess it's because the city population itself has been growing recently. Natsuhiko looked around the surrounding cityscape. Rokume City was a small provincial city. However, it was home to more than 300 research facilities and over 10,000 researchers. It was a research university town leading in Japan's cutting-edge science. The facilities covered a broad range of topics, some key examples being nuclear power, biology, physics, medicine, life sciences. Sorry, this is funny, it just makes me think of an episode of College Humor. Sandwich repair, witch hunting, environmental science and technology, space research and development, natural disaster prevention, computer science, materials engineering, laser engineering, clean energy, nanotechnology, and finally, BC. Nuclear power and BC research in particular received copious amounts of national funding and were thus heavily pushed. Despite energy deficiencies being a global issue, no country had secured a supply of safe and high-quality energy. Traditional nuclear power generation had been carried out worldwide until the early 21st century, but was no longer acceptable. Innovative results, including the quick implementation of nuclear fusion, were expected. And for that reason, both the government and the researchers fervently focused on nuclear power research. BC, on the other hand, garnered focus for a completely different reason. BC research was still an extremely underdeveloped field full of uncertainties in its underlying theories. But the unknown cannot be left unknown for long. It was uncertain in which ways research would progress, but it was said that the possibilities were endless. So from a scientific perspective, the secrets of BC had to be unravelled post-haste. And to that end, both BC researchers and communicators alike were treated favourably in the city in terms of taxation and the like. Likewise, Natsuhiko and Mashiro both were beneficiaries of such efforts. So do you think the number of communicators has grown too? It seems so, though you got to admit, this is a nice city for us to live in. Though it was a city of communicators, the city as a whole hardly had any of the untargeted telepathy conversations the school had. Misuse of BC was prohibited by city ordinance, with the premises of Rokume Academy and a few other institutions being the only exceptions. 1 or 2 violations would go overlooked, but any intolerable misuse would soon earn you detention and reproval. Well, I guess it's a good thing for the city to prosper. Better than being lonely, I guess. Yeah, I love the city too. It's a city of science and ESP. Doesn't that sound cool? Like something straight out of sci-fi. It's an affluent society with high public order. What more can I say? Yeah, though there is one thing that bothers me. Natsuhiko gazed at the map provided at the bus stop as he spoke. Depicted at the edge of the map was a large hexagonal building. And what's that one thing? Well, to be honest, it's Labo. Right as Natsuhiko began to speak, he spotted something beyond the map and gasped. Huh? What's wrong? Doesn't something seem odd to you about that car? Natsuhiko had caught sight of a car weaving back and forth precariously out of its lane. It strayed off the road and started heading towards Natsuhiko and Mashiro at the bus stop. Mashiro? Yep. Right after Natsuhiko pulled Mashiro by the hand, the sound of an intense impact rang out. The car had crashed into the roadside trees right beside the bus stop. But that still was not enough to stop the momentum of the car, which then started to spin out, only stopping once it collided into a streetlight. Mashiro, are you okay? I'm fine. But the driver? The crashed car was smashed at the front. The doors were horribly crumpled. As a result, the driver was trapped in the car without an easy way out. We gotta help him. Calm down, Mashiro. There's nothing ordinary bystanders like us can do. We should call an ambulance instead. What are you saying? An accident just happened right in front of us. Ignoring Natsuhiko, Mashiro ran straight towards the scene of the accident. Hey, wait, Mashiro? He looked at the car as he screamed and realized that there was a familiar face sitting in the driver's seat. Mr. Ukita? It was Natsuhiko's neighbor and his mother's co-worker, Keiji Ukita. Huh? Mr. Ukita, are you okay? Ukita had no conspicuous injuries. However, he appeared to not be fully conscious, perhaps due to a concussion. What an accident! It hardly happens in this city. Onlookers gathered all at once. Yeah, well, all the cars should be self-driving by now, right? Mashiro yelled, ignoring them. Please, hold on. I'll get you out of there right now. But then an odd dripping noise could be heard mixed in with Mashiro's voice, and a noxious scent could be smelled wafting through the air. Petrol? Gasoline? The impact of the crash caused the gasoline to leak and start evaporating. In this day and age, most passenger vehicles were electric. This particular car, however, was a hybrid, a dying breed. If the impact of the crash was to start a fire, there'd be an explosion. Mashiro is going to get caught in it. The moment that thought had crossed Natsuhiko's mind, something snapped in his head. Get away from there, Mashiro. There's gasoline. Is that why he can't, like, do telepathy and shit? He can see the future instead? He's got a new ability. Mashiro reflexively jumped back upon hearing that thunderous voice. No, not just Mashiro. All the onlookers shrank away with looks of surprise on their face. Even Natsuhiko himself was surprised. That mental voice stopped everybody in a visible radius in their tracks. Natsuhiko's telepathy reached the minds of everyone. Well, there you go. But this wasn't the time to be surprised. That's right, gotta call an ambulance. Natsuhiko took out his PDA with that in mind. A PDA! Sign of the times. He brought up the phone function and dialed 119. The line connected immediately. Emergency services, how may I help you? There's been a traffic accident. A car crashed into a streetlight. Someone's trapped inside. Also, there's a gas leak. It might explode. Thank you for your report. Pardon me, but mind identifying yourself? Natsuhiko Tenkawa, high school student at Rokume Academy. Please see the city database. Sorry for the intrusion. Where did the accident occur? Center Street, close to the shopping area exit. Understood. We currently have a rescue squad dispatched on another case nearby that area. We'll redirect some of the members your way. And thus, the call center hung up. When Natsuhiko put away his PDA, he found Mashiro had come up beside him. Natsuhiko, was that BC? Yeah, I guess. Natsuhiko answered ambiguously. He never expected that he could have used BC himself, because he hadn't ever used it before in his entire life. Why don't we get the feeling that this was a particularly strong use of telepathy? Well, more importantly, what about Mr. Ukita? Ukita appeared to be truly stuck. The stench of gasoline got even stronger. The car could have exploded at any moment. I wonder if he'll be okay. Calm down, the rescue squad's coming now. Let's try to wait and not panic. Mashiro nodded. Natsuhiko, Mashiro, and all the onlookers watched over the car in bated breath. You shouldn't be anywhere near it. Shrapnel, man. And soon enough, the sound of a siren could suddenly be heard. At its source was an ambulance, and a long red vehicle like a fire truck. The two cars stopped by the scene of the accident, and out of the red truck jumped two women. Is this the scene of the accident? One of the women shouted and looked at Natsuhiko. Based on their orange uniforms, they appeared to be rescue workers. Yes, I'm the one who called in the report. Understood. Please stand back. It's too dangerous. Please hurry. The gas. Mr. Ukito. Relax. We're on the scene. Okay, come on, Mashiro. Let's back away so we don't get in their way. Right. Natsuhiko grabbed Mashiro by the hand and took her further away from the scene of the accident. The rescue workers' voices rang out. Murabe? What's the situation? No sources of fire in the area. Lots of gasoline vapor though. Then let's hose it down. Suppress the static electricity. Roger. The male squad member voice added to the noise as well. Dojima, get the engine cutter ready. Hayama. Hiyama, get the air jack. Roger. Open the door as soon as the hosing's done. First aid, get the stretcher ready. Stat. He bellowed out commands at the scene of the accident. And after the hosing was done, they wrenched the car door open with something resembling an electric saw and a jack. And in the blink of an eye, Ukita was rescued. Alrighty, you're safe now, sir. Thank you. Whoa. The onlookers cheered. The female squad member smiled triumphantly, and she laid Ukita down on the stretcher. So cool. Mashiro cheered as she watched the female squad member at work. More importantly, let's go. I'm worried about Mr. Ukita. Ah, right. Natsuhiko and Mashiro rushed up to the stretcher the rescue squad was carrying. Mr. Ukita. Are you okay? Huh? Oh, Natsuhiko. Mashiro. Ukita got off his stretcher once he noticed the two of them. Wait, sir, please stop. We need to take you into the ambulance. I'm sorry, but please let me talk to these kids for a second. The squad member hesitated for a second, but then nodded reluctantly. You sure? What about your injuries? I'm okay. My ribs hurt somewhat, but I can manage. Thank goodness you had us worried. Anyway, was that your telepathy back there, Natsuhiko? Yeah, probably. That's the first time I ever used it, though. I see. So what about it? Ukita fell silent for a moment and then gazed at Natsuhiko before continuing. Listen closely, you two. This is important. Strange things might start happening around you from now on. Huh? What do you mean? Hopefully I'm just being a little paranoid. No, I probably am. But for now, just please be careful. Natsuhiko was bewildered and didn't understand. And leaving his cryptic warning at that, Ukita was taken into the ambulance, leaving behind only Natsuhiko, Mashiro, and some of the onlookers. Huh, wonder what that was all about. Was it because you used BC? Maybe he was worried since you violated the ordinance. No. He had a feeling that wasn't quite it, but he didn't have any idea what else it could be. And at that moment, someone caught his sight out of the corner of his eye. When he got a better look, there stood an unfamiliar girl holding a stuffed animal. Is it a stoat? A ferret? She was standing among the dispersing onlookers from a distance, looking directly Natsuhiko's way. Is she looking at the accident? No, at me. Who have we got? Mashiro, and you're the new one, Louise. I mean, we should always treat people nicely first, right? The girl seemed to be wearing the same Rokume Academy High School uniform as Natsuhiko and Mashiro, but who is that? Have I ever seen a blonde girl like that at school? Her piercing eyes seemed to conflict with her completely disinterested expression. Mashiro? Feeling something of unrest from the girl, Natsuhiko stepped up between her and Mashiro, and with a defiant posture he glared back at the girl. But eventually the girl looked away and left. Mashiro, you okay? Huh? What do you mean? Well, Mashiro didn't seem to have noticed the girl's presence. It's nothing. Let's go home. Yeah. And with that exchange, the two of them left. Maybe extreme was too much. That night, Natsuhiko and Mashiro told Yuri about the incident as they gathered around the dinner table. So that's what happened. Man, it was so shocking. Despite how tense Mashiro was right after the accident, she was now back to her cheerful self, excitedly telling the tale. And right after we realised we'd witnessed the scene of an accident, Natsuhiko suddenly used telepathy. Two huge events happened one after the other. I was so shook up. Huh? He couldn't use telepathy? Yeah, somehow I used it back then. Just then? You can't use it anymore? Seems like it. I guess it's that flight or fight response sort of thing. After Natsuhiko had seemingly gained the ability of telepathy, he tries to use it again on Mashiro on the way back. But Natsuhiko was unable to send even the feeblest of messages, much less reproduce the large-scale telepathy he used back there. Well, it's not a big deal. If there's something I want to convey, I can just convey it with my voice after all. Man, you really don't have any interest in BC, do you? I mean, you usually don't even cry sour grapes over not being able to use BC. Well, I don't see a problem. Talking's more fun anyway. Got that right? Looks like the BC challenge got to stick up for each other, huh? Now you're making me feel like the odd man out. Just as Mashiro implied, Yuri was completely incapable of using BC as well. She had rank C aptitude, but hadn't practiced much at all. Yuri didn't seem to like BC all that much either, so Natsuhiko quickly tried to change the subject. But still, today sure was ridiculous, huh? It's rare for accidents to happen in this city. Sure is. I wonder how Mr. Ikeda still got into that accident though. Beats me. Maybe there's a system error in his car's ADS. Rokume City was the first city in the nation to adopt trial run of ADS, that is, automatic driving systems. Cars inside the city were all equipped with that system. You just entered the desired address and your car safely took you to your destination. But I thought ADS failures were exceptionally rare. I heard they have an accident rate of only 4% compared to human drivers. Meaning it's still not 0%, right? I guess you still can't expect perfection, even if you rely on computers for everything. Despite data suggesting automatic driving had been far safer than human operation, there was still something about it that seemed unreliable. And when Yuri heard this discussion, she muttered in a trembling voice, "It really is scary outside, isn't it?" Natsuhiko twitched at her statement, but without revealing so much as a hint of that gut reaction, he smiled at Yuri and reassured her, "It's okay, there's nothing for you to worry about, Yuri. If you just relax at home, you won't get into any danger." I'm still good. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're fine, unlike some people who jump headfirst into danger. What was that? You're not criticizing me by any chance, are you? I wouldn't go so far as to say I was criticizing you, but you know, I really don't think it's a good idea to act on impulse without any consideration for your own safety. Mashiro's kindness was a good thing, but her lack of prudence was one of her weak points. Ha! You're just the one lacking in manliness, Natsuhiko. Manliness? But you're a girl, remember? How can I watch a girl leap into danger and not worry? You were worried? Of course! You may have forgotten this, but you're a girl, at least biologically, you know? Oh, you're right. Well, I'm sorry I worried you. But you know, you used to leap into danger a lot when you were younger too, Natsuhiko. Huh? Well, I guess. Natsuhiko found himself at a loss for words in the face of that embarrassing point. Yuri smiled and started speaking again. That's true, Hikiden used to be a mischievous boy too. Whenever he found danger, he'd happily leap into it. Sure, I guess I was like that in the past, but as Natsuhiko answered, he recalled his childhood days. A scene about a decade old. Back in those days, Natsuhiko was something of a leader among the children. If there was anything interesting, he'd leap right into it without any regard for danger. If he saw a kid getting bullied, he'd go through any lengths to protect them, even if it meant facing a bully bigger than him. And uncharacteristic of a boy his age, he was a kid who would play with girls even if it meant other boys making fun of him. Hey Yuri, Mashiro, let's go out and play. Two young girls responded to the young Natsuhiko's voice. Okay, where? Let's go to the park. I met a cute puppy there the other day. Okay, so today we go look for that doggy. Follow me, Yuto. Where are you, doggy? Doggy? If you can hear me, say so. Hikiden, it's not like he can answer you. Okay then, Natsuhiko, want to have a competition to see who can find him first? Oh, then how about the loser has to do what the winner says? Geez, you two always make a competition out of everything. Brat boss Natsuhiko and tomboy Mashiro had something of a boyish rivalry. Since they both always lived in the same neighborhood in Rokume City, they were already acquainted before they could remember. And once Yuri moved in, the three of them quickly became friends. They had many friends, but they mostly enjoyed playing just the three of them. They would go to faraway tests of courage. So what happened to Natsuhiko that changed him? I'm scared. It's okay, Yuri. I'm here for you. Mashiro, your voice is trembling. We'll practice BC together. It's no use, Natsuhiko. I can't do telepathy. Don't give up. Let's try hard until we can. They didn't just play outside either. They'd also visit each other's houses. Pardon the intrusion, Natsuhiko, your house is so big! Hey, what should we play? Pogs, or maybe Tops? That's so old-fashioned, Natsuhiko. Let's watch anime. Beyond is airing right now. How about we all read a book together? I'm sure the professor has lots. Then we can play with Tops while we watch anime and read a book. You can't do all that at once. That's so greedy, Hikiden. Yuri was 2 years older than the other two, but the age difference was inconsequential. Their hobbies and personalities were all over the place, but the three of them were always together. As long as they were all together, they had fun no matter what they did. And their relationship continued even now. The boys were really dead set on making fun of me back then, huh? But thanks to his perseverance, he was able to build the interpersonal relationships he had now. The familial relationships one builds from childhood are nigh irreplaceable. And that's exactly why one can both scold someone and worry about them at the same time. Oh, now that I think about it, I was only doing it to show off to everyone. Really, I quite enjoyed it myself though. But still, peace and quiet really is the best. There's no point in putting yourself in danger. It's because we have this peace in our lives that we can eat delicious dinners like this after all. Well, I guess you're right. Mashiro's mood seemed to more or less improve after being praised for her cooking. And naturally, Yuri joined in too. Hey Mashiron, the fish is super delicious. Sure is. What kind of fish is this? Ah, that's hairtail. I tried to carefully cook its crumbly meat. I don't know what that says. Always with the French words. You're amazing, Mashiron. Your cooking skills being improving every day. Sure is. You can even put a pro to shame now. Nah, you flatter me, but I love it. Flatter me more. With a simple change of topic, the smiles returned to the dinner table. Natsuhiko found such peaceful times to be the most pleasant. Eventually, dinner came to a close, and after a little time spent chatting, it was time for Mashiro to go home. Well, Natsuhiko, Yuri, see you tomorrow. She made her usual farewell. Thanks for today again, Mashiro. I should walk you home at least once in a while, shouldn't I? Nah, it's fine. We're right in the same neighborhood anyway. Okay, good night, you two. Mashiro returned their words with a smile as she left the house. Once Mashiron left, there wasn't much for them to do. They basically just relaxed until nighttime came. Alright, I guess I'll go take a shower. Okay, go ahead. Yuri would apparently take her baths during the daytime in consideration for Natsuhiko. Okay, then if you'll excuse me. And with that, Natsuhiko headed to the bathroom. After a simple shower, he brushed his teeth and went back to the living room. And Yuri was there reading a book, waiting for him. Ah, welcome back, Hikiden. I'm back. Hikiden, want to go to sleep already, or are you up for a little chat? A chat sounds good. Guess I'll go warm up some hot milk then. Ah, I'll have some too. Roger. Natsuhiko answered affirmatively and headed to the kitchen. Both Natsuhiko and Yuri loved hot milk. Natsuhiko warmed up hot milk for two and returned to the living room. Here you go. Thanks. Natsuhiko and Yuri sat on the sofas surrounding the table. How do you spend your day today, Yuri? Well, I did a little knitting. Now that she mentioned it, Natsuhiko remembered that Yuri had started knitting this summer. To make presents for Natsuhiko and Mashiro, apparently. Oh, how's that going? I don't know. Hopefully I'll be done by winter. I look forward to it then. I work hard to meet your expectations. Yuri smiled upon hearing Natsuhiko's reply. Natsuhiko enjoyed spending time having a quiet conversation with Yuri after Mashiro went home. Oh, also, I read 2 books today, and I got started on a third. Oh, what kind of books? The first one was by a South American author, a wondrous tale following a certain family from prosperity to downfall. The second one was an anthology focused on the theme of dreams. One story was about a man who waited for 100 years after a woman died. I see, so the keywords were stuff like dreams and illusions, huh? Or perhaps even solitude and promises, maybe. Yuri was quite the bookworm. She wasn't picky about the genres either. She made sure to read at least 1 book a day, regardless of genre. Man, that is impressive. At the end of the day, she'd give Natsuhiko her impressions. Incidentally, the woman had this wonderful line. Will you gather all the falling fragments of the stars and place them on my grave? And will you wait for me there in 100 years? Do so and I'm sure we will meet again. That's just crazy talk. But in reply, the man said without any hesitation that he would wait for her. And he really did wait for her, alone. For 100 years. We're already maxed out with Yuri, so we're good. Huh? Now that's commitment. Were they lovers? Nope, just 2 people who made a promise. And still the woman kept her promise and reunited with the man. In the form of a flower. under the twinkling stars of the same night sky they shared 100 years prior. Wow, that's a beautiful story. I know, isn't it romantic? So what about you, Hikiden? Do you think you could keep a promise for 100 years? Well, I don't know if I could promise to wait that long without any hesitation, but a promise is a promise, so I'm sure I'd keep it. Exactly, you don't break promises, do you, Hikiden? Yeah, that's my only good point after all. Natsuhiko and Yuri smiled at each other. To read books and do some knitting, such was Yuri's daily life. She didn't go to school, nor work, nor even a step outside the house. And it was Natsuhiko's responsibility to protect that daily life. There were circumstances behind why Yuri never left the house. It all revolved around a certain incident that occurred 9 years ago. Back in those days, Yuri was still a laid-back girl, but she was far more active. Natsuhiko would take Yuri and Mashiro along on exploration adventures to various places. But one day, as a result of his own actions, Natsuhiko exposed Yuri to a life and death situation. Burned into Natsuhiko's memory was a fire. A resounding alarm and a flickering red light. Natsuhiko and Yuri, trapped. Yuri's crying voice. Just remembering gave him the chills. Natsuhiko constantly regretted his actions for these past 9 years. I mustn't ever do that again. Natsuhiko was still emotionally scarred, but Yuri's scars were probably far deeper than his. Unfortunately, her parents passed away in a traffic accident, leaving her without a single relative. Natsuhiko's mother took custody of Yuri out of compassion, but by that time, the repeated tragedies had already taken their toll on the young girl's heart. Ever since that day, Yuri was extremely afraid of going outside and shut herself up in the house. Nobody could convince her to go outside, not even by force. Hey Yuri, why not try going outside? No. 3 days after she began to live in the Tenkawa residence, Natsuhiko steeled himself and tried to talk her out of concern that she'd never leave the house. What do you mean no? You have to go out sometime, don't you? No, it's scary. You're gonna skip school and stay inside here forever? Come on, I'll stick with you through the whole thing. The moment Natsuhiko tried to pull her by the hand. No, no, no! Yuri burst into tears. I don't want to go outside, I hate it, I don't want to go. Don't make me leave, let me stay here. Yuri cowered in fear as she cried. Yuri. Yuri twitched when Natsuhiko tried to lend her a helping hand. She froze, still as a rock, and then all he heard from her was heavy breathing. Natsuhiko could do nothing but stand there at a loss for what to do. Day after day after day, nothing changed. She would cry, she would suffer migraines, she would have difficulty breathing. Her fear of the outside was so strong that it resulted in psychological issues. A year later, Natsuhiko gave up trying to make Yuri go outside entirely. He was afraid he'd break Yuri's heart. And without Yuri ever going outside again, 8 more years passed. PTSD, huh? Post-traumatic stress disorder, a psychological condition stemming from extreme situations like life and death experiences. Yuri still suffered from PTSD today. Her symptoms included flashbacks or nightmares about her past experience. She tended to avoid the things that served as sources of her trauma. A panic disorder also accompanied these symptoms. It was classic PTSD. I changed her. Yuri merely lived a quiet life within these walls without ever leaving the house. It hurt Natsuhiko's heart to think about her situation, but Yuri was keenly aware that it distressed him, and so she would always look to him with a compassionate look on her face. What's wrong, Hikiden? You got quiet all of a sudden. Are you thinking about the past again? Huh? There's nothing you have to worry about. I get to live here now, and you're so kind to me too. I've got you and I've got Mashiro too. Every day is fun, so you really don't need to worry about me. Yuri spoke with a gentle smile. A very clear and somehow ephemeral smile. Indeed, despite her fragile heart, she was perfectly willing to let Natsuhiko stay by her side. And so in turn, Natsuhiko vowed to always live up to that smile. It's my duty to stay by her side and watch over her. His bond with Yuri made his friendships with his classmates seem almost inconsequential in comparison. Adding Mashiro to the mix meant he was more than content with the interpersonal relationships he already had. With that in mind, Natsuhiko returned Yuri's smile. Thank you, Yuri. You might get mad if I say this, but I'm glad to have you in my life. Yuri looked a bit lonely when Natsuhiko said this. But you know, there's just one thing that bothers me. Huh? What's that? The fact that your relationship with Marsharon hasn't developed at all. My Marsharon is maxed out again. Am I, well, getting in the way between you two? What does Mashiro have to do with all this? Oh, Masharon's such a lovely girl. She's a great cook and she's so nice to you too. What are you even talking about? It's not like she's only nice to me, you know. Natsuhiko rushed to find an excuse and avoid giving Yuri the wrong idea. Her motto is, I can't overlook anyone who's in need, you know. She's just naturally kind, that's all. Are you sure about that? I'm sure. Besides, she said she's not interested at all in guys, hasn't she? She's even said if I had to say I'm more interested in girls, I guess, but I'm not so sure about that. But despite his excuse, Yuri just shot him a dubious look. Just kidding, she eventually said with a smile. That's a terrible joke, Yuri. I've just read a dreamy love story, so I was thinking it would be nice to have a talk like this every now and then. It was so fun seeing you all flustered. I couldn't help but tease you for a bit. Well, you got me there. Natsuhiko and Yuri exchanged smiles, and thus they leisurely spent their time in peace. The room was filled with not love, not friendship, but absolute peace of mind transcending either. And after a little bit, they talked about Yuri's third book of the day. But before they knew it, it was already late at night. Would you look at the time? Before Natsuhiko realized it, Yuri's sleepy eyes were drooping too. How about we head to bed soon, Yuri? Yeah, you're right. Yuri said as she stood up. A lot sure happened today, huh? Yeah, hopefully tomorrow will be an ordinary, uneventful day. Natsuhiko mused as he carried the cups to the kitchen and dumped Yuri's milk into the sink. Okay, good night, Yuri. Night. And with that exchange of words, Natsuhiko went to turn off the lights in the living room, when suddenly he heard a soft voice from behind him. And that seems like the perfect cliffhanger to leave you guys on, because we're out of time, once again. We're setting the scene here. We're setting the scene. Something weird is going on, especially with that blonde girl, but I guess we'll find out what's going on very soon and how our census thing we're setting actually affects anyone, because from what I can tell, like I thought it was going to be like, if you have more than one person, you have 100% of your whatever, and you'd have to divvy it up between them, but no, you just max everyone out, so... But maybe that's not a good thing to do, I don't know, maybe one of them's an evil lunatic, and if you max them out, they'll stab your face off or something. Well, guess we'll find out. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.